That text that brought me to this. For the 7th time today, someone's texted me this. I know what had to be done. Alright, let's begin. We'll start with global geography. There are 6 continents in the world. Africa, right here. South America, right there. North America, Asia, Europe, and Oceania. Some people even say there's 7 with Antarctica. They're all based on concepts of continents and physical geography. Because of a huge development of new countries after World War II, new criteria had to be taken into account to separate the world. Factors like culture, economic connections, history play a factor in creating regions of the world.
Okay, now onto global politics. It's dictatorship versus democracy. A dictator controls everything that makes a state. They make the laws, they implement the laws, they interpret the laws. It might be a small group called an oligarchy, or it could be just your average Joe dictator. Then there's democracy, which is a system that is for the people, by the people. A system that uses your classic average Joe, and he could be elected to become president or prime minister. Or he could just have the freedom of being whoever he wants.
Now with the political axes. There are 3 major sections on the political axes. There's the left side, which promotes social progress, reform, freedom, and equality. There is the middle of the axis, which is kind of the neutral ground area, which supports freedoms and rights, but likes their own tradition and way of life. And there's the right side, which is the more conservative side. They reject rapid change and like to stick to their traditions and beliefs. They support more of a stay-at-home way of life and try to keep things the way they are.
Haha, I've moved my king over here. Oh yeah? Well, I can only move this one spot. Communism. Well, I just got checkmate, so, it's every time.
As we can see, there are very different forms of ideologies and government systems. The main ones fall into the political axes. On the left corner, we have anarchism, which is mainly anti-government and is not that present in our society. It is a far extreme left side of the political axes. Just a few blocks down, we have communism, which still has government, but in a lot of cases has a dictatorship. It is a system that promotes equality to all and less about equity. People get the same salary, same rations of food, and same social benefits as everyone else, no matter what. These examples are like in Russia, Cuba, and China, who all had dictatorships or still do. Next we have socialism, which is the closest political system on the left side to the middle. In a way, socialism is a mix of communism and capitalism. It shares the same values of progressive change and social equality, but when it comes to the economy, it has more of a capitalism approach, like in the Scandinavian countries or even here in Quebec. On the middle part of the axis, you can see a liberalist approach, whose goal is to have a limited role in the state and promotes individual freedom. They usually support economic liberalism and limit state power in the economy and individual freedom in the society. On the right side of the axis, we see ideologies like conservatism. Conservatism is an ideology that supports the traditional values of society. It is opposed to progressivism. It's like when Quebec was advocated by the Catholic morality, or when Margaret Thatcher was in power in the UK, or even recently Stephen Harper in Canada. On the right side of the axis is fascism. Opposed to anarchism, it is not very progressive and usually has a commander-in-chief or dictator. It will not allow anyone to be opposed to the state, and everything in the state stays in the state. Like Mussolini said, all within the state, nothing outside the state, nothing against the state.
Next we're going to global economics. Politics and economy are very similar. You can either interfere with an economy or you cannot. There is such thing as planned economy, which is when the state interferes directly with the economy. It kind of nationalized the production in a way. USSR used to do it, and Cuba still does it to this day. Then we have about the center, which is mainly a mixed economy. This is like in Quebec, where we have the SAQ and Hydro-Quebec. This is when the state interferes with some form of production, but they don't interfere with others. so it's a mixed economy. And then there's third, which is capitalism, which is a completely free market. Those countries depend on investors, and big multinational companies like the U.S. Relies heavily on big companies.
Then we have the laws of supplies and demand. Supply is the quantity of good or service that a producer is ready to sell, and demand is the quantity of good that a consumer is ready to purchase. It goes like this. If the supply increases and demand stays the same, the demand will decrease and the price will fall. If the supply decreases but the demand stays, the demand will rise and the price of the product will be more expensive. If the demand increases but the supply remains stable, the supply will rise and the price of the goods or service will increase. If the demand decreases but the supply stays, the supply will go on down and the price will decrease. And that is all we have for global economics.
Thank you again for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and I hope to see you part 2 in the introduction phase, and I hopefully can get it all done before June arrives and the exam starts, so you can use this to help you study. Thank you.